This is my interview of Brent Bowles with EMS Supply. And here's question one. So, how did you start your business?
The business that I have was started about 15 years ago when I worked for a medical equipment company here in Salt Lake. They had a trade-in program. We would get used equipment from them. There ended up being just an opportunity in that market because there was no one else to buy that stuff. And as an employee, I wasn't actually allowed to buy it, but they were basically going to junk it. So I bought some of that equipment, sold it on the internet, sold it through eBay or .med, and made some money on it, very little money. Then I went probably 5 or 6, maybe 7 years after I left that company where I didn't do any of it. And all of a sudden I was working for a big hospital equipment company here in Salt Lake, and the same idea came up. Just a bunch of equipment was around, there was no one to buy it, and I started buying it and selling on the internet.
Okay, and then what would your opportunity space be?
I guess the opportunity space that we have is just the supply and demand of that product. That sometimes in the hospital business, all of a sudden they're changing out their IV pumps, so all of a sudden they're getting rid of 500 IV pumps, downtown. And so our opportunity space is in basically like a biomed shop, buying equipment and filling the void for used equipment into the market.
How effective would you say the services that you provide?
It's got to be pretty effective because they keep paying me. So the proof's kind of in the pudding there. I think it's really effective. I think that the used equipment business and what I do, because that's really like the only real industry that I know. And obviously, like I said, the only thing I can really say is the effectiveness of it is they keep paying me. So it's got to be effective.
What would the value in exchange of your service be? The efficiency in fulfilling the customer's needs?
What's hard is that what I'm doing is I'm buying what they have available. So I don't have the ability to all of a sudden, when customers call me and go, we want all of these really specific PCA pumps, I can't just go buy them. I'm at the mercy of what the hospitals are getting rid of. So my effectiveness is only as good as what they're getting rid of at that time.
All right. And would you say your business has high or low value in distribution?
I think it has a high value distribution. The convenience of the service that I provide is that we're providing equipment to people, to small surgical centers, to small hospitals and foreign entities, so much cheaper than they could buy it firsthand for. That's the effectiveness that we have, is that we're providing a great product at probably pennies on the dollar.
Okay, and does your business have the ability to grow and adapt within the environment?
Yeah, and one thing that's nice about our business is that the overhead is so low that we can kind of handle it when all of a sudden the hospitals aren't providing a lot of equipment. When there's not a lot to sell, we can survive because we're such a low overhead business. Very few employees, very small warehouse space, cheaply operated. So we adapt the environment by, if the hospitals aren't selling anything for 3 months, we've sold enough that we carry over, and that's our adaptation.
Interesting. How has your business grown financially since you first started?
In the very early days of the EMS Supply, if I made $300 a month and I could buy Carl's Jr. for lunch, I was ecstatic. I honestly, and then right now we do almost 100,000 a month. So we've gone from $300 a month out of the back of a Subaru to almost $100,000 a month. So again, that's just, if they're paying me, obviously I've got to be doing a pretty decent job. And what's nice about supply and demand is if I start doing a crappy job, they quit paying me, and the problem takes care of itself.
What are your means of production?
So our means of production is limited to what the hospital system here in the local area and the Idaho area is providing. So in purchasing what we're buying, we again are at the mercy of what hospitals want to get rid of. Their liability in getting rid of it. Is it worth their time? Are they better off throwing it away versus selling it to me? So our means of production is waiting for them to go, hey, we want to get rid of all this stuff, and we go, we will buy it.
All right, and then what government's mechanisms have you implemented into the business?
I think the governance that we have is that we have been burned buying junk before that we couldn't get rid of, and it's a mechanism of going, don't buy any of that crap ever again. Because when you get burned by something, you go, put in place rules that say when you buy garbage that's at the edge that you go, I think we can buy these old pumps and resell them, or these old hospital beds, or some of the stuff that has huge liabilities to it. So the governance that we have in place is that we go, it's just experience. The governance that I have in place is that I have enough experience doing this for so long that I know what to stay away from, and I know what the risks are in some of this crap. I know the people that are involved in buying this type of junk, I don't want anything to do with. So the governance that we have is that we just say to ourselves, I have enough experience to stay away from this stuff, and enough experience to know I want to buy this stuff. So it's just experience in the sales that we have in history of our sales record going, this is what you buy and this is what you stay away from. And I think that's really our only governance, is that we want to make more money, so we don't want to buy a bunch of BS.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Devin, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. I hope that helps.